All right. Hey, everybody. So I have Jaime on the line with us. Jaime, I'll let you introduce yourself if you just want to tell us who you are, your pronouns, and any identity factors that you'd like to share.
Um, I'm Jaime Delgado. My pronouns are they, them, their. I don't know what kind of identifying factors you want.
Whatever you want to share, or none at all.
Well, I'm queer. I'm multiracial, white passing. I'm a social worker. I'm neurodivergent. And I don't know. I guess that's it. Others might pop up.
So what were your biggest challenges when you joined GenderFuck? Can you tell me a little bit more about your challenges personally when you joined GenderFuck? What kind of related to gender were coming up for you?
I think probably not having a lot of community or people in my everyday life that either understood the challenges or just had like a good understanding of what it is to be genderqueer.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two partners. They're both cis partners. They have sort of very different experiences within the trans community, and a fair understanding, and they're supported, but it's sort of different than living as a genderqueer person right now currently. And that posed two sort of competing challenges. So one partner is cisgender with really limited experience outside of me, mm-hmm. and another close family member. The other has a history, a personal history, and a lot of experience with being genderqueer and having genderqueer people around them. So one partner was in a place of learning and newness, and another partner had such an established idea about what it means to be genderqueer that there were points where I wouldn't really find a good balance with either of them, with regards to defining my own experience for myself and having that be understood.
Okay. And how was not feeling like you had that community affecting your life?
It was interesting. You had used the term recently with regards to some of the elements of my transition, like that it's like a footnote.
Mm-hmm.
And my therapist this week, I brought that up. I said, oh, someone recently said that my transition's like a footnote in my life, and my therapist responded very, they seem to identify with that statement a lot. They're like, yeah, we don't even ever get to talk about your transition because you're always having to deal with all this other stuff that's going on. So yeah, it's like kind of in the back burner or not the most, I don't know, prioritized thing in our household.
Yeah.
And some of that is because there are legitimately other more important things going on. Some of it is because I choose not to really engage with my partners on the topic because I find it can be a little exhausting.
Yeah.
And they'll have the best of intentions and want to be supportive. But if they don't quite understand what's going on, or I have to explain it, or it just feels like it's more effort than it's worth sometimes.
Yeah, I hear that. What was it like to have a space that was really just dedicated to you, to your transition, and came with this community? How did that impact your journey over those 10 weeks?
I actually think it was like you would think, oh yeah, it's like phenomenal. I have this thing that I've been missing. It's here. It's yay. Like instead of a footnote, it's like, you know, the main dissertation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was difficult to switch back and forth from like having it be like kind of on the back burner to like, okay, this is all about you and your gender, take up lots of space. And I was just like, oh gosh, like I didn't even know, not having had the experience being able to kind of normalize it in my life, I didn't even really know where to put it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty real.
so I enjoyed watching other people take a lot of space. I really liked it when other people like regularly posted their stuff. I was like, yes.
So I'm going to ask you to finish this sentence. My favorite part of working with GenderFuck was.
My favorite part of working with GenderFuck was getting check-ins.
Yeah.
I liked receiving the weekly prompts for feedback, even though I didn't actually fill one out until the last week, which is strange because it made me feel like there was care about my feeling and my experience. I think because I hadn't really defined for myself what my experience was, or I couldn't define it. And I think part of me didn't want to define it because I wasn't interacting in the way I wanted to. So I'm like, well, no, I don't want to describe this yet, or I don't want to talk about this yet because I haven't really done the things I had planned to or experienced the things in the way I wanted to with this program. So I'm like, I'll answer it next week. Then I'll answer it next week. And then I finally get the last one. I'm like, okay, I have to answer it this week and just be honest because I didn't get to participate as fully as I had wanted to, but I really liked that there was a check-in. It wasn't assumed that the program was complete. It wasn't assumed that it you know was just fully formed or crystallized. It was like, oh, there's lots of space and there's room to interact and to change it or alter it in the process. And that made it feel more alive and less fixed. And sometimes when you do things digitally, whether it's a class or a support group, it follows a script and you feel that. I mean, sometimes when I do workshops, I have to follow a script and I work very hard not to have it feel like we're following a script and like a template. So when you're checking in and then asking, what would you like? How would you like things changed? Then you feel like you're actually moving in an organic way on a platform that is inherently inorganic.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that. GenderFuck is definitely evolving, and my intention is that it continues to evolve for the life of the program. I always want to be making it better. I always want to be checking in with people about their experience in the program. That is something that is very important to me and will continue to be very important to me. I'm curious about what 3 pieces of content or parts of the program made the biggest impact for you. What resonated the most?
I'm not sure. I don't think I can answer that because I just looked through this binder is huge that I have. It's full of information.
Mm-hmm.
I can say with regards to types of information, I liked that the program incorporated other people's programs and credited them.
Yeah.
So you might have offered an article or a certain portion of another professional's work,
Mm-hmm.
and that was incorporated into the GenderFuck program. But then if I really enjoyed that, I could go back to that professional's website and enjoy other parts of their programming,
Mm-hmm.
which was relevant to GenderFuck, but might be something totally different.
Yeah.
And that's the same with the books that were offered. Some books, there might be 2 reading sources in a week, and I would say, okay, I have to pick one to look at.
Yeah.
Or I'd want to get one from the library if I purchased another. It made me aware of other professionals doing similar work.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, it was like planting seeds that might not be ready to sprout, but I'm seated now, with a lot more access to things that I might not have the bandwidth right now for, but I know they're there. So when it pops up, wait, there's this concept or idea that I vaguely remember. Let me go back into this giant binder full of a lot of information,
Yes.
and find that one author or find this one component from this other program. When I looked at it, well, also being a therapist myself, the first week when I looked at it, I was like, wow, there is a lot of research that went into building this program, and everything is cited and credited. So if I recognized a piece of something that I was aware of existing somewhere else, it was properly credited, which makes me feel that the integrity of the program is at a standard that I'm comfortable with professionally as well as personally. And then when I saw something that was new that I hadn't been exposed to, I felt really good that everything was documented, so I can go back and find, alternative citations on things, because that's just the way my mind works. And I could, it's like a sort of tree roots. You can kind of like run down the pathway that is calling to you, and know that there's other pathways you can go follow later. And when I did dig around, when I did have time to look, it always led someplace that was respectable. Like an incredible amount of work went into that program.
Yeah.
And I could see it, and I was like, wow. And that was part of it. It was like, I really want to do justice as a participant in this, because I could see how much work and planning went into it.
Thank you. That means a lot. And yes, absolutely. A lot of work and a lot of research, and digging through many, many research articles with 20 books strewn around me went into creating a lot of the content. And you're right. I don't think literally any way for a person in 10 weeks to consume all of the resources that are provided, or to fully take in every single thing that was said. But I do hope that it, like you said, plants these seeds that builds these roots that are a really, really strong foundation that people can continue to go back to and continue to reference and continue to utilize after the program is done.
Yeah, I actually really appreciated that you followed up with a subscription series.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that allows people to be able to do that at their own pace, at their own time. It is a lot of information, and then you can finish the program and sign up for that subscription right away, or you can know that it's there when you're ready to engage again. Like for me, I think I need to go actually read some more of the items and really penetrate the information and kind of understand a bit more about where my journey is in relation to a lot of this information, or even bits of the information that I'm deciding to focus on. And then that I know that there is sort of a running stream of people who are doing the same thing that I could choose to check in with for a period of time.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like, oh, that just ended. I didn't quite get to do the things I want to do, and now it's done. I'm like, okay, wait, I can now go do the things I want to do in my own time, and then check in with other people when I feel like I need community.
Yep, exactly. And that was my entire intention behind creating the membership, is to continue providing that community and continue providing that support and that content for people. If you had to describe how you felt or feel about GenderFuck in 3 words, what would they be?
Safe. It's a strong foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It is vast, and it's fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Which I suppose is a really good word to have when you're dealing with gender. It is very fluid. and sort of make it what you need it to be in the way you need it to be. I didn't ever feel pressure to do it in one way.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
But I do feel like the information in the community does create a foundation to stand on. And there's just a lot of stuff to work with. So it's varied. It's a varied amount of stuff.
Thank you. And who would you recommend GenderFuck to and why?
It's hard to say because things work for people differently. I was glad that I actually have a therapist that I could bounce little bits or ideas or just even what my feeling was participating off of. That was helpful for me, but I can see how a person who didn't have access to a therapist or wasn't quite ready to enter a therapeutic relationship might enjoy the more sort of academic nature of like being able to do research and reading about some of this stuff before they determine if they even want to enter into sort of a clinical relationship. So I think it would be for people who want more information.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't just community. I think that there's a lot of social media groups that offer certain levels of community within the queer, genderqueer subculture. But I think what was different about this one is that it was focused around a set of ideas and concepts and shared readings that even if you didn't do them all, there were people within the group who might have done what you have done and that you can discuss it with. I think it gives a focus to the community as opposed to just, okay, we all sort of identify similarly under this umbrella, but we're also vastly different and have different needs and different ideas. It sometimes leads to either, I don't know, chaos at its worst or just a lack of unity, maybe even at its best. And if you have something to sort of rally around or put in the center of your community, and it allows for a bit more structure and something in common, even if you have nothing else in common with everyone else in the group.
Thank you. And what would you tell somebody if they're considering joining GenderFuck?
That it's a lot of information mostly, and that even if I'd known at the very beginning that I wasn't going to be able to make the times for the coaching calls and the workshops, then I still could have done it, but I would have had to block off different times, comparable amounts of time in my schedule each week to review the missed calls. And then because I think that could have worked as well. The few weeks that I was able to do that, it did work to watch them at a different time and then to make notes about it. And then I knew, even if I didn't participate, I knew what people were talking about when they were posting. Yeah. So it's more of being aware that you have to make time for it, but even if you can't be there the same time everyone else is, it can work. It's just more like, if you're going to do it, make the time in your schedule that works for you so you can actually participate. At the same time, sometimes just taking a first step to officially do something to support your journey or your transition might be enough. So I wasn't able to participate in the way that I wanted for as long as I wanted, but I actually hit all of my transition goals that I had personally during that 10-week time.
Wow.
I just didn't, I wasn't necessarily posting about it. And I do think watching everybody, be really brave or, get very interested in participating in certain areas was inspiring and it was helpful. So it was more of a sort of implicit inspiration in the background for me. But if I hit all my marks and all these really huge goals that I was looking to accomplish,
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say that it was pretty beneficial, even though I couldn't be there all the time.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie, for taking the time to talk with me about this. I very much appreciate it, and looking forward to talking more soon.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.